I greet you all in the name of those that have come before us. I greet you all in the name of the supreme being that created Ile-Ife and the entire Yoruba civilization. I greet you all in the name of those that have come before us, those that have spilled their blood for the benefit of the Yoruba people, that have fought in countless wars for the past 2,000 years for the preservation of this land that we call ours, for the preservation of this identity that we call the Yoruba race. I greet you all in the name of those that have come and gone, that have sacrificed their lives, that were taken as slaves across the transatlantic ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, despite all these things, they were able to maintain and withhold their identity. I greet you all in the name of the Almighty, because our strength is not in man. Our strength is in the Supreme Being, which we call Olodumare. It is Olodumare that created Think Yoruba First Organization, TYF. Our sustenance is from Olodumare. We do not trust in our wealth, in our knowledge, in our understanding. We trust in Almighty God. For many years, it's been many years, we've continued to strive, we've continued to move from places to places with the same dream. And we know that we shall reach the promised land. We are so grateful to all of you, our dear esteemed listeners, dear esteemed members, friends of TYF, lovers of TYF, members of Think Yoruba First Organization all over the world. Those of you that are praying for us for so many years, those of you that are praying for us, those of you that are supporting us financially, those of you that are supporting us in terms of your human resources. I've seen many people that will say, look, I want to be part of TYF and this is my skills and this is what I want to do. And they've been so wonderful to us because it is because of them that in the midst of darkness, in this dark hour, across the Yoruba civilization, from Gambia to Warri, that we've been able to be like a lamp sitting on the hill. We've been that light in the midst of darkness in Yoruba land. And it's not because of our strength, of our uniqueness as a people, as an institution. Because we said TYF is an institution. TYF is a legacy that will outlive us. That the generations yet unborn. I'm talking about generations, our great-grandchildren are going to meet this institution. They are going to be part of it and they are going to use it for the preservation of Yoruba land, for the economic empowerment, political empowerment, historical empowerment of the Yoruba race all across the world. Because we are a global race, that is why TYF is a global institution all across the world, from Asia to America to Africa. What are we doing here today? We are here to discuss another important topic, which is the political education of the Yoruba people. There's something that we've observed. When it comes to education, there is formal education and there's informal education. There is also civic education, social education, economic education, political education, even historical education, geopolitical education. And there are technical education. But I can tell you something that is very fundamental, that the political education is the most important education in life. If you figure out politics, you will figure out economics, you will figure out survival, you will figure out power, you will figure out human behavior. You'll be able to build a civilization that will be able to survive millions of years. That is why, if you look at the world, there are superior civilization. It is superior civilization that gives rise to superior people. So there are superior civilization. You cannot compare the Bantu civilization in Southern Africa and you are comparing with Greco-Roman civilization in Europe. You cannot. They are not the same. And the advancement, you cannot compare the Bantu civilization and be comparing in Southern Africa and be comparing it to the Ife or Oduduwa or Yoruba civilization in West Africa. We are far more advanced than them. Culturally, civilization wise, you look at the product of our civilizations and what we have achieved for the past 1,000 years. But despite all this greatness of the Yoruba race, you can have an advanced civilization and you can still go extinct as a people. A good example is the Aztec civilization. When it comes to, if you look at the Aztec civilization, for instance, the Aztecs, they used to take their baths twice a day. When the Spanish conquerors got to Aztecs, current day Mexico, they found out that the Spanish, sometimes they were not taking their bath for 1 month, 2, 3, 4 months. And the Aztecs were taking their bath once a day, twice a day, once a day. Public health, public hygiene. The Aztecs could read and write. They had an advanced system of aquaponics, advanced agricultural system. They could produce chocolate. They could build pyramids, all those kind of advanced stuff. The Aztecs were doing it. Things that the Spanish could not do. But because the Spanish had guns, and they were battle tested. They had more political education because the Spanish had fought the Arabs in Andalus centuries before. The Spanish have a history of historical warfare. They understand war. They understand famine. They face external threats. They are more toughened. So, an inferior civilization, the Spanish, not only destroyed and annihilated the Aztec Empire, they took over the entire land. And that's why you have Mexico today. And you have Guatemala, El Salvador, all those areas of Central America. We're taking away from the indigenous people. Not that the indigenous people were savages like they want to paint them. They were actually advanced people. If you still look at Mexico City, one of the biggest cities in the world, it was the Aztecs that built that city. Mexico, those are terms that of the original aboriginals of those places. So you need to understand where we are coming from and where we are going to. So when you look at the Yoruba people, sometimes I wonder, are we not going to become the Aztecs? We can brag about the greatness of our elders. We can brag about the greatness of our people. We can brag about the greatness of our civilization, what our forefathers have achieved in years past. But the reality is that you look at this current generation who do not understand how to play politics. They do not understand politics. They do not understand what politics is. And I think the problem is that the Yoruba people are still stuck in monarchy system. We think our monarchs have the ability to change things. We have forgotten that in the current system we find ourselves, whether you are Yoruba of Nigeria, Yoruba of Togo, Yoruba of Benin Republic, Yoruba of Ghana, Yoruba of Gambia, Yoruba of Sierra Leone, Yorubas of Senegal, Yoruba of Ivory Coast, Yoruba of Brazil, Yoruba of Cuba, Yoruba of Barbados, Yoruba of Trinidad, Yoruba of Tobago, Yoruba of St. Lucia, Yoruba of St. Vincent, Yorubas of Colombia, Yorubas of Ecuador, Yorubas of Argentina, Yorubas of Brazil, Yorubas of Guyana, Yorubas of America, Yorubas of Canada, Yorubas of Cuba, Yorubas of Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, etc. Yorubas of Jamaica. No matter where you find yourselves, maybe due to the transatlantic slave trade, trans-Saharan slave trade, the 1884 Berlin West African Conference, where Yoruba land of West Africa was partitioned into pieces, broken into pieces by the European powers between 1884 to 1885, or you are descendants of Yoruba people that were forcefully taken as slaves into the New World and you managed to survive, or you are descendants of indentured servants of Yoruba, because we have descendants of enslaved Yoruba people and descendants of indentured Yoruba people in the New World. Or you are just descendants of those who willingly migrated 200 years ago. Anywhere you find yourselves across the world, you have to understand the importance of political power. Without political power, we are going to be consumed and we are going to be destroyed. And I've always said this, an organized minority will destroy a disorganized majority. And we need to understand what the concept called race. R-A-C-E. Nigeria is an amalgamation of races. And because race, what do you do in a race? It's a competition. It's a brutal competition. That is why you see terms when the Igbos are saying, oh, the Yoruba people cannot compete. Oh, we can out-compete them. Because they work in group, while the Yoruba people are not working in group. And this was one of the things Awolowo saw, that Awolowo fought with his life, that there must be a form of a regional system of government, where the Yoruba people, because he knew his people, he knew how we operate, he knew how clannish we are, he knew how individualistic we are. He saw that along religious lines, we are polarized. Even amongst Christianity, some people we call white garment churches, the demonic church. Some people we believe some church are not good. Even within Islam, there's Ahmadiyya, there's Ansaruddin, there's Nasfat. And we have the Isheshe, the traditionalists in our midst. So we are a highly polarized people. So because we are highly polarized as a people, it is very, very difficult to have a particular quorum, to have a particular forum, to have one fold for us to exist as a people. So that's how difficult it is for the Yoruba people as a people to survive within Nigeria. And that's why to compete. And that's why Awolowo was saying, okay, let us have a form of regional system of government. So unfortunately, the regional system of government is no more. It has now become free for all. And I understand when my fellow Yorubas are always saying, we need a regional system of government. Oh, or some people will even go for the jugular. We need to get out of this country. Oh, the Igbos are going to destroy us. And the irony is that, if we cannot be able to hold our ground within Nigeria and fight against anybody, then that means we are jokers. And that's why I've told people, we are not running anywhere. People will run away from us. Like they ran away from us today in Lagos. During the local government election. That's how you gain your respect. You put the fear of God in the lives of people. People will know that these people have the fear of God in them. The fear of God is not by turning your other cheek. The fear of God is that if you move an inch here, you are going to know that Jesus is Lord. And I think people know what I'm talking about. You are going to be intentional. And I think I want to give a round of applause for everybody here. Especially comrades. You guys have done a good job. 4 or 5 years ago, it was very easy to come out and say, Yoruba women are this and that. Kéèyàn tó sọ ń sìn, ó máa wo left, ó máa wo right. Torí tó bá sọ, picture yẹn ni wọ́n á gbé jáde, tí wọ́n á fi ṣe sample fún. And what has happened? People now respect the Yoruba more. That is the concept of peace through strength. You are going to have peace through strength. It is still part of the political education of understanding how to survive in a multi-ethnic unitary system like Nigeria. Sherry, I want to insist the structure, this structure must be maintained. Are people that see Nigeria as an opportunity to expand. They see, we've been winning battles left, right, and center. The Ijaws wanted to use INEC to steal 70%, Ijaws and Yorubos, to steal 70% of the lands of the Ishekiris in Warri. But because, fortunately for the Ishekiris, they are no longer playing isolationist politics. And they are saying, we are Yorubas. We are Yorubas. They've reached out to their brothers in the West. They've been so forceful. They've been so forceful. They've been so intentional. And people like us could offer little help we can in different capacities. Because you understand what Nigeria is. If you are a minority without any geopolitical backing from any of the majority, you are going to be consumed by any group in Nigeria. And Nigeria will move on. So politicians are the new emperors in Nigeria. And like I used to say this, we've seen a lot of things that happened, NBA, where some Yoruba people signed away their rights, their life, and to be rotating political power with a non-Yoruba group in Yoruba land in the name of trying to look for peace. You are not looking for peace. You are looking for your destruction. Some of the people in NBA reached out to me, and some of them said they didn't know. They are so politically ignorant. These are lawyers, for God's sake. These are people that you feel should know. That's why we said political education is extremely important. Because the Yoruba race are the most politically illiterate society within Nigeria. But we thank God things are changing. Those who caused us many years ago are now preaching the same message we are preaching. Those that don't even acknowledge us publicly, they've now opened their platform and be doing exactly what we are doing. All glory be to Almighty God. Because it is not for the glory of man, but for the glory of God and for the entire Yoruba race, for us to survive within Nigeria. If we cannot survive Nigeria, we are not qualified to have Yoruba nation. If you cannot survive, because you need to understand. So we're talking about political education. I want to sincerely apologize to our brothers and sisters for the loss in transmission. And I hope my TYF comrades in Federal Capital Territory, they will not be angry that RA is using this. This is the only way I could be. Maybe they are reporting my page, and so that I could not be able to speak. But we have to do this so that I can deliver the message. Maybe I will try and also come back with my proper platform. So the political education of the Yoruba people is extremely important. So we are a people that the kind of politics we are playing is a politics of extinction, is a politics of self-destruction. As a Yoruba people, you need to understand, what do you want in Nigeria? What do we want? And how are we going to get what we want? If we don't get what we want, you can't just come on social media and say, oh, it is regionalism or nothing. Oh, no, you cannot. It doesn't work that way. It's been more than 4-5 after the Igbos destroyed the federal system of structure in Nigeria through Nziogo and Ifiajuna since 1966. And they imposed this unitarist no man's land system of constitution on the rest of Nigeria. And if you continue to ask them why they did it, they are going to tell you they did it so that they can foster Nigeria's unity. And they did it because ever since then, Nigeria has been in a constant state of war. And Nigeria will continue to be in a state of war until there is ethno-linguistic federalism and the proper definition of Nigeria. And that is why the problem of Nigeria is beyond the price of rice, is beyond the price of gari, is beyond the price of kulikuli and ekpa. The problem of Nigeria is the structure of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is that Nigeria has not been properly defined. And we have to ensure that Nigeria does not become another Sudan. You look at how when Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the problem is that 90% of those representing the Yoruba people currently have not even read any single book about Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So, and unfortunately, ever since the destruction, for instance, the UPA, the action group, which was the political bloc speaking for the Yoruba people in Nigeria, was destroyed in the First Republic. The UPN, another political bloc speaking for the Yoruba people, was destroyed in the Second Republic. Every time there is a military intervention. I'm going to give you a good chronological, a simple chronology. In the First Republic, to destroy the UPN, the action group, there had to be a coup d'etat in 1966, where they destroyed all political backing. So look, to build a structure, to build a political platform requires prayers, spiritual intervention, countless resources, human resources. You cannot just have a structure today and you can build another structure tomorrow. That's why it's a joke. To think you can just come all of a sudden, build another organization that will be rivaling Afenifere within 2-3 years. You are a joke. Because Afenifere was built on the martyrdom, millions, thousands of people have died. Their blood is like it's like a form of martyrdom for that organization you see. Many people have suffered so much to build it. That's why no matter what Afenifere has done, no matter what Afenifere is doing, TYF will not attack it. And that's why it's so funny that people who say they are Yoruba nationalists are attacking Afenifere, are attacking TYF in different capacities. So it makes no sense that you cannot be saying you are fighting for Yoruba issue and you are destroying an institution meant for the liberation of the Yoruba people. You see a lot of things they are doing publicly. You don't understand this. The next thing is to start saying nonsense and rubbish in public. And the next thing you now come out and say, oh, Ejeka Parija. Ija wo na pari? Jai Shebereni. Ija wo na pari. Kosija koko is we don't even know you in the first place. We don't, because this is a journey of 1,000 years that we need to focus. Every strata of the Yoruba society has been infiltrated. Every single one. 4 or 5 years ago, it is almost impossible for you to come out and say, we want jobs in Yoruba people to be preserved for Yoruba people. You're going to see Igbos coming out and start threatening you. And you're going to see some accursed Yoruba element joining them to say that. 3-4 years ago. Now, people can come out and say such a thing without any fear of being bullied, cyber bullied on social media. Because we've told our people this concept of, oh, we are more civilized than them, we cannot be behaving like savages like them, does not work in Nigeria. You need to be able to stand your ground. You need to be intentional. You need to be able to stand your ground and say, this is Yoruba land. This is Yoruba land. And Nigeria is a federal republic of Nigeria. If the indigenous people cannot control their space, that means they are conquered, that means they have been destroyed. So it's so important. So I'm going back to the chronology I was trying to narrate. In the Second Republic, it was UPN. Immediately UPN won the election of Kwara State. And there needs to be a drastic political reconfiguration, especially of Ilorin Central, Kwara Central, where a lot of a minority is using politics to subjugate the majority. What happened? A coup happened in 1984 again. A lot of our political leaders were thrown into prison, tear gassed. Many people developed cancer, died of hypertension. They did not recover. The Second Republic was the only chance of Awolowo to ever say he's going to use politics to reform Nigeria and liberate the Yoruba people from the strangles of unitarism, feudalism, and invasion of people that are masquerading as our fellow countrymen. In the Third Republic, what happened again? We came back strong. We won the presidency, SDP, Chief MKO Abiola. What happened? We saw what Ojukwu said. We have the paper where Ojukwu said that Abiola should be hanged. Instead, he was saying no to Yoruba presidency. So this was what happened to us. We could not be able to get our liberation as we deserve it. Using the political means. The military came again, they destroyed it. We created NADECO. The same NADECO that has been heavily infiltrated by IPOB Philic people Now, Deco that was built on the bloodshed of the Yoruba people has been infiltrated by Igbos to be fighting a Yoruba man. That's the bitter truth. Now, Deco is the brainchild of the Yoruba people. That's why I'm so happy to what happened to the Labour Party. That after so many years, NCNC was a Yoruba organization, a Yoruba political party meant to liberate the entire southern part of Nigeria. That is why the Yoruba people must stop thinking you are the messiah of anybody again. That's why this organization, this institution is called Think Yoruba First. Enough of you as a Yoruba man being not paying attention to how are you going to liberate the Yoruba people of Kwara State? How are you going to liberate the Yoruba people of Kogi State? How are you going to liberate the Yoruba people of Delta State? How are you going to liberate the Yoruba people of Kwara State, of Delta State? How are you going to liberate the Yoruba people of Edo State? Brothers and sisters, please, the host, can you remove the person, that Ari Andu out of this place with immediate effect? Please. It must not be where we are discussing Yoruba issues, somebody that insults the Ooni of Ife and all our institutions.
Can you make me a co-host to kick him out?
It's not a matter of the co-host. What are the co-hosts doing here? Ejo, sharing co-host Ejo to Olorun with immediate effect. And anybody and his likes out of this platform with immediate effect. You can also remove Onyeka Chitu with immediate effect. You said was some nonsense against the Yoruba people.
I've removed him too.
Yes. Out. Who again? You can remove Chief Ochendo too.
Chief, please. I'll go through all of them one by one.
Exactly. Please. We are not going to condone that nonsense. We don't need them here. They should go to where they preach Yoruba hate for a living and not come to our platforms. We mean it online, we mean it offline. It is Yoruba land. Enough of infiltration and destruction of the Yoruba people from within. The Yoruba people have never let Yoruba land to be destroying other ethnicities in Nigeria. Why are you now bringing war to our doorsteps? We are never going to accept that. If you think you've been able to buy one or two political elders or leaders, you are joking. Yoruba land does not work that way. This is our life on the line. This is our destiny on the line. The destruction that Azikwe did to the Yoruba people, we've not recovered after 80 years. Many people don't know the destruction that Azikwe did to you, you've not recovered. What did Azikwe do to the Yoruba people? The Akoko Edo people, the Usen people, Ishekiris of Delta, Ishekiris of Edo. The reason why they are the Olukumis, the reason why they are part of the South today was due to the politics of Azikwe. And that's why sometimes we love Chief Obafemi Awolowo, but we need to be realistic. But was it realistic with the politics he played? Because if you are not in political power in Nigeria, you are going to be destroyed by very aggressive and ruthless ethnicities. Look at the Coastal Road. The Coastal Road would not have happened in the next 1,000 years if you do not have the political power. If you do not have the political power, many of you keep on wondering. You look at Ondo State, you look at that stretch of land, that stretch of coastal line, and there is no form of road connection to connect those states, to connect those people into a particular base. It's absolutely insane. Why is it this way? It is that way because there is no political commitment. We don't even have the resources because there is no regional system. You don't even have the wealth. Your wealth has been taken to Abuja. All the constitutions that we currently use in Nigeria was forced on us by the military. The military never left Nigeria. It is even a fallacy for us to say that the military in Nigeria is the one that is currently always supervising transition to democracy. Because what does the military does? They will write a constitution that mirrors their own agenda, which is ethnic. The military of Nigeria, there are so many books, so many articles that place credence to this. The military of Nigeria, the coups in Nigeria after the coup of 1966 was so much concentrated. The political power that the military power had, the military hegemonies had, was so much concentrated in some parts of Nigeria. And they were reconfiguring Nigeria in their own image and likeness. And they were choosing cronies from some places across Nigeria to give a semblance of national unity. So this is the situation we found ourselves. So in the Fourth Republic, SDP was also destroyed. Not only was SDP destroyed, all the brain behind of SDP were assassinated and sent into exile. Between 1993 to 1999, 5 years, we fought. We created OPC. We created NADECO. We created different organizations to fight, to be able to take. And while we were doing this, the Igbos were rewarded with the total control of the import of the ports in Nigeria. When you control the ports, we will not be able to import anything to even defend ourselves. They were made the gatekeepers of Nigeria. They were given the ports. They were the gatekeepers of Nigeria under Abacha. We could not do anything. And what happened? New billionaires were created in the East. Peter Obi became a billionaire. That's why it's so insane. I don't even understand what happened. That's why I said political education of our youth is extremely important. Because if not, that the Yoruba youth of 2025 are politically illiterate. Somebody says he doesn't know Abacha. I only worked for Abacha. I don't know Abacha, but I collected appointments from Abacha. How can you collect appointment for somebody you don't know? How can you collect appointment for somebody you do not know? So it is called political education. So, and he was able to say that, and some of our people think it's cool. You see Yoruba youth there. If there is no Yoruba youth, if there is no Yoruba brain in the obedient movement will crash. And that is why we are going to come hard on the Yoruba obedience. If there is no Yoruba brain in the obedient movement will crash. Because it is the Yoruba brain, it is the brain. They are using the brain power that they all inherited through their bloodline to create that monster called the obedient movement. Because that was the bitter truth. The End SARS movement was a brainchild of the Yoruba people. The obedient movement, forget the people that are shouting on social media. Those doing the network, the plan, the intuition, the organization, the financing, the networking are Yoruba people. But even though they don't know they are slaves, that's why we look at people like Macaroni. Nobody even gave him the guy was not even remembered to be given ticket to contest for House of Rep. Ordinary chairmanship, he cannot be given tickets. It is for him to be given peanuts, to be given social media likes and retweets, and to be shouting on social media. But power is not going to be on the table. Let me tell you something. According to Marcus Garvey, a people without power, a race without power is a conquered race. If you do not have political power, you are going to be destroyed in your ancestral land. Power is extremely important. And there are different levels of power. I have discussed this several times. Different types of power. We have economic power. We have political power. We have intellectual power. We have geopolitical power. We have religious and spiritual power. The Fulanis, what do they have in Nigeria? The Fulanis have, currently, they don't even dominate the military anymore. They don't. But what have they been able to dominate? They've dominated the control of Islam. They understand the power of Islam. Islam is power. Islam is raw power. Christianity is raw power. Yoruba is raw power. It is the Igbos understand that Christianity is raw power. That is why the Igbos don't joke with Catholic Church. You can insult them. They don't joke with Catholic Church. They understand the importance of Catholic Church. They understand the importance of Catholicism. The host, please, can you mute, please, sir? They understand the importance of Catholic Church. They understand how important political Christianity is. They understand how the Fulanis understand the power of political Islam. And that's why when you say one North, the unity between the Northeast and the Northwest is based on the power of Islam. It is the unification of the Sokoto Caliphate or the Kanem Borno Empire into one block. The Hausa, the Fulani, and the Kanuris. It is in one block. It is because of the power of Islam. It is the power of Islam. The Christian, the Igbos understand that. That's why the Igbos ruthlessly use the church. They use the Middle Belt, which they call the Bible Belt, to unite the Middle Belt, the South, and the Southeast into a formidable bloc. They got 6 million votes. The Yoruba people, what are you using to unite? You want to use morality to unite in a country where there is a struggle for power. It's insanity. You cannot play fair where other people are not playing fair. You have to understand that is common sense. You cannot play fair where other people are not playing fair. It is insanity to play fair where other people are playing fair. In the rules of game in Nigeria, there is no fairness, especially in politics. It is a brutal struggle. You saw what the Igbos did. For the past 10 years, the Igbos have been sponsoring all sorts of propaganda against El-Rufai. They called El-Rufai all sorts of names. They scared El-Rufai is a killer. David Hundeyin released all sorts of things against people like Malami, against people like Issa Pantami. What happened? Because of the Igbos' desperation to get into power, they understand that they need a strong power base. They understand that the minorities are not going to give them that power base. They know that even if they win presidency, they can be annulled and nothing will happen. So what are they doing? They are getting across to the hardcore conservative elements, the blue bloods in the Sokoto Caliphate, in the Kanem Borno Empire, in order to be able to get access and recreate the NCNC and the MPC political alliance of the First Republic that brought about the Igbo domination and Igbo hegemony of Nigeria. What happened? They threw the Middle Belt out of the window. The Middle Belt, many Middle Belt nationalists made enemies. He insulted a lot of us, said a lot of nonsense. And what happened? They are saying, oh, it is all just politics. Let us forget about what El-Rufai has done. And the Middle Belt, many of them are so ashamed. Because apart from the fact that many of them are telling you that we are doing obedient in order to save our people from political annihilation. It was also a form of leveraging. A lot of them wanted to use Labour Party to contest for House of Rep, Councillor, Chairman, and get position by 2027. By continuing to beat our, this was a road, it was a means to an end for many of them. What happened? They've been thrown under the bus. Because in the real sense of it, there is no morality in the struggle for power in Nigeria. The only people who talk about morality is somebody like the Yoruba people. Last week, I spoke passionately about asking our Yoruba people. Mo de bi yin lere lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Kí ni Tinubu ṣe fún yín? Tẹ́ fi fẹ́ pa. Tinubu ẹ ti rí evidence. Nígbà tí wọ́n pa àwọn political leaders yín, Peter Obi was making billions. Owó yẹn ló fi pilẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀. A third class philosophy graduate. A bloody philosophy graduate. Òun náà fi lọ fi head the think camp pot. Tẹ́ bá fi jẹ think camp pot lásán, wíbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ ṣe rí owó burúkú ni àwọn owó tó ju owó epo lọ. Àwọn people àwọn èèyàn understand tó wà Nàìjíríà. Ṣe rí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni owó wà, ibẹ̀ ni ọ̀rọ̀ wà. Tẹ́ sort of non-oil export. They say, oh, Nigeria wants to continue. Nigeria wants to have non-oil export. Nigeria wants to be great with non-oil export. Nigeria wants to solve non-oil dependency. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lè ti máa rí 70 to 80% of this wealth. Ibẹ̀ ni àwọn viable ports wà. Ibẹ̀ ni àwọn cash crops wà. Àwọn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá Kogi ló ní cashew. Ibẹ̀ lọ sí cashew, Ọ̀yọ́ State, Kwara, ibẹ̀ ni cashew wà. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni cocoa wà. Cocoa àti cashew are the top agricultural imports, top agricultural exports. Tí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní cassava, ẹ̀yin lè produce many of the cassavas Nigeria ń jẹ. So when it comes to agricultural cash crops and power, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà kéré. Palm oil nìkan làwọn South, Edo, Akwa Ibom, cross river number wa fi ẹ̀jẹ̀ kẹ́gbẹ́. So automatically ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ni but àwọn kan ti understand wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ kẹ́ wà nínú kẹ́ máa gọ̀ lọ wọ́n fẹ́ kẹ́yìn máa ṣe kẹ́ máa sọ òyìnbó burúkú òyìnbó tá a sọ yín di ẹrú nínú ilẹ̀ bàbá yín kẹ́ continue. Wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ẹ mọ bó ṣe ń lọ ẹ jẹ́ kí n lo slang yẹn ẹ mọ bó ṣe ń lọ. Wọ́n máa ní look at him your leader he's a drug baron he's a thief. Now ẹni pé drug baron ni ṣé ẹ ká cocaine mọ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹni pé drug baron ni àmọ́ àwọn tó ń gbé drug àmọ́ ìran tó yẹ kí gbogbo Malaysia Vietnam àwọn náà kún bẹ̀. Ẹ máa ní two wrong don't make it right. You know you guys are ọmọlúàbí àìṣe ọmọlúàbí àgàn ni a dẹ̀ ti bí àwọn ọmọ tó ṣe é bully a bí àwọn ọmọ tó jẹ́ pé they are always seeking for validation. Things are so bad nílẹ̀ Yorùbá gan tá à ń bí àwọn ọmọ tó ń seek for validation níta kọ́mọ rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé ilẹ̀ gbọ́n tán ilẹ̀ mọ̀ tán àwọn dìde ní kàtẹ́ ti kóra wọn jọ àwọn conservative bẹ̀tẹ̀ àwọn support Tinubu ẹ mọ̀ tẹ́ ń ṣe ẹ gan ni ẹ mọ̀ tẹ́ ń ṣe tó yẹ mo fi ní pé gbogbo bàtà bẹ̀rẹ̀ conservative àyìn kan náà lè kóra yín láti wá bàjẹ́ torí ẹ̀dí tẹ́wà lọ jí nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ ń pẹ̀ ẹ máa kóra yín sí problem náà ni because ẹ understand Nàìjíríà ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà ò yé yín ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀fẹ́ gbò tọrọ ara yín kò tọrọ because ibi tí ò yé yín tó ló dìbò gbé yín sílẹ̀ fẹ́ gbéra yín sí torí that's the bitter truth torí ẹ̀lẹ́fẹ́ ẹ̀ fi understand wípé láti jẹ president Nàìjíríà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá is a privilege. It is a privilege to become the president of Nigeria is a privilege. Ìgbà táwọn Igbo sọ pé òun fẹ́ jẹ president Nigeria kó n kàn rí 2 years lásán. Mo rí àwọn èèyàn kan irú àwọn Wúrà sísà mi kan Wúrà ẹnìkan náà wà wọ́n ń ṣe example pé bí àwọn ọkùnrin ṣe máa ń tan obìnrin pé let me just put the tip mo kàn rẹ́rìn pé oníjìbìtì ni wọ́n. Because they understand the importance of power. Ẹ̀yin wá ní. Instead, tell you organize kí la fẹ́ as Yorùbá people. Torí many people kàn pariwo ni. Bó ní nǹkan ṣe wrong nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Bó ní iṣẹ́ state government tó ṣe ń bọ́ sọ́wọ́ àwọn àjòjì. Iṣẹ́ local government bó ṣe ń bọ́ sọ́wọ́ àwọn àjòjì. Ẹ jẹ́ fún instance. There's one director, máa forúkọ bù wọn láṣìírí. Director ní Lagos State Government àwọn health ní medical doctor ni wọ́n wá ń ṣe cultural day ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn Igbo tó ń bẹ nínú ọ́fíìsì ẹ̀ cultural day àwọn Igbo culture náà lọ ń ṣò lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìgbà tí kinní yẹn wá leak out àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ pè láti aláwùsá pé ṣé ojú ti yín fọ́ ni àbẹ́ ti yín di nonsense wo lẹ ṣe yẹn ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ dán nonsense yẹn wo mọ́. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ní máa yẹn wá lọ ń complain fún ẹ tó jẹ́ àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ tèmi tó jẹ́ fellow medical doctors pé wọ́n máa ń pọ̀ òun láti ọ́fíìsì láti Ìkẹjà wípé Yorùbá culture lẹ́ẹ̀kọ́ òun safe pé kí ni big deal now kò sí big deal now kẹ́rẹ́bà understand man yìí is in his close to his 60 so tọ́sọ̀ kí ni big deal bíbẹ̀ gangan àwọn tó wà ní directorship yẹn permanent residence yẹn àwọn ló gba àbọ̀dẹ̀ ju àwọn tẹ́ ń wò ní political elite yẹn lọ. Torí ẹ̀ ní ọ̀rọ̀ intern ṣe yìí the political Tinubu máa ṣe tiẹ̀ láti jẹ́ kí ìran Yorùbá kó help wa but àwọn bàbá wa torí many of them iṣẹ́ tó yẹ fún ìran Yorùbá church náà ti ń pín fáwọn àjòjì wọ́n dẹ̀ ti infiltrate wa ẹlòmíì wà yóò ta job slot yẹn ni kò sí nǹkan tó kàn án wípé kò tiẹ̀ kàn bóyá Yorùbá ni màá ta kíní fún ó yàtọ̀ sí pé màá ta fẹ́ anybody they don't care many of them wà bọ́ta torí ẹ̀ ni èmi ò ń pín àwọn ẹkún ẹgbẹ́rẹ́ táwọn èèyàn kan ń sun èmi ò ń dá sí because gbogbo wàhálà tá à ń fà Yorùbá àwọn Yorùbá ẹgbẹ́ náà ló kó wa sí wàhálà ẹ̀ torí ẹ̀ la fi ń pariwo pé political education ó wà important ẹ̀wọ̀n tó lọ ń ṣe ní Ghana táwọn Sikis lọ ń ṣe ní Ghana ó bọ́ ta that's why pé kọ́lọ́run jẹ́ kí èèyàn mọ ìgbàládùúrà pé káwọn ọ̀tá wa gọ̀ àwọn ọ̀tá wa gọ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò tí ì fi bọ́ ọmọ wa lọ́wọ́ o kárí àwọn ọ̀tá wa gọ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò lè bọ́ tó pé àbá ti lọ. Orí Ọ̀yọ́ incident Ọ̀yọ́ Empire nílọrin láti mọ̀ pé threat náà làwọn ará bí láti north, láti àwọn Fúlàní, when it comes to where they play their politics, hiding under religion. Ó ní wọn ò fi lè move. But around this new threat, for the past 80 years, our people have not figured them out. Because of religious brotherhood. And we are shouting on top of our voices. On top of our voices. Wípé tẹ́ bá fẹ́ secure ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ gbọ́dọ̀ control the political power. Political power yẹn ẹ wá gbọ́dọ̀ wò wípé ọwọ́ ta lẹ fi sí. Now, this is not my next point. Your political leaders are not messiahs. And ẹ̀yin Christians ni ọ̀rọ̀ ìbáwí jù. Ẹ máa rò pé your political leaders, àwọn mímọ́ ló gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, kò gbọ́dọ̀ mu gbó, kò gbọ́dọ̀ mu sìgá, kò gbọ́dọ̀ gbóbìnrin, ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, those kind of nonsense. Many of you would content claim this kind of something, this kind of host. I don't like this. Can the host ask?
I am Biafra. Was okay.
Kí ni quickly ẹ̀yin host méjèèjì kò dá now?
Mi ò go.
Inter discuss lánàá náà rè.
No.
Ẹ control space.
Mi ò gbé sókè o, but I've
Tí wọn ò bá gbé sókè, ẹ máa wo ẹni tó wà lórí, ẹ máa wo ohun tó wà níbí báyìí, ẹ jọ̀ọ́. Kò lè.
Ẹ má bínú.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run, ẹ focus lórí tá à ń ṣe ń bì. You saw how they don't want this thing. You saw I could not come in with my real platform. Because we have to educate our people. Because we continue to preach. And millions are going to be set free. We are not going to fight. Our message is what is going to liberate the entire Yoruba race. And if you are a co-host, you are a privilege to be a co-host and a host on TY. Please be on tandem. Ẹ má kàn fi phone lẹ̀ kí ọlọ́mọ mo bí àlábẹ́ tébù. I don't shake kinní ni. Mo fi Olódùmarè mo fi bẹ̀yìn. Please. So it is intentional to destroy what we are saying. It is intentional. They have network where they politically educate their own youths. Your youths are not educated. And your youth will weaponize to destroy your land. They know now you understand the importance of political education. The older generations, they failed. The older generations failed this generation. They refuse to teach us what to do. They refuse. They refuse to pass on the message. They refuse to pass on the message. They refuse to pass on the message of hope and liberation. They did not tell us kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ láyé Akíntọ́lá, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ láyé Awólọ́wọ̀, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1982. Gbogbo nǹkan báyìí làwọn Ìgbò sọ fúnra wọn, Fúlàní sọ fúnra wọn. Àwọn Fúlàní ti ní Almanjiri system of education. Ṣé rí Almanjiri póríṣiríṣi. Almanjiri táwọn Almanjiri ń sí is a form of early system of Quranic education for young northern bloods. Almanjiri Quranic center tọmọ Erufai máa lọ, tọmọ Buhari máa lọ, ó máa yàtọ̀ sí ọmọ Tálákáwà máa lọ. But the curriculum is the same. Ìtàkà ń ṣe bọ́n ṣe ń ṣe ló yàtọ̀. Kí ni curriculum? They teach them history. They teach them politics. They teach them about Quran. They teach them about the Uthman Dan Fodio jihad. Ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti kúkú wọn between the age of 3, 4, 5 to the age of 12, 13, 14. So many of them has the fundamental orientation. Àwọn youth yìí ò ní, lẹ́yìn pé wọ́n lọ Sunday, wọ́n lọ church, wọ́n lọ mosque. Many of them ò tiẹ̀ lọ bí kankan. So our youths are empty. For the Igbos, it's a different ball game. They've weaponized the Biafran. They tell them about Biafra. In fact, wọ́n tún lọ ṣe hero beer, wọ́n tún fi Biafran logo sí. They tell them about Biafra. They told them about Biafra. Àwọn tó ti mọ ìtànlẹ̀ Yorùbá, youth tó mọ ìtànlẹ̀ Yorùbá, ọ̀tẹ̀ ló mọ̀. Ọ̀tẹ̀ Wiz, ọ̀nà ìfẹ́, Vice Aláàfin ọ̀fọ̀ yọ, àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ náà dẹ̀rẹ̀dán, ọ̀rọ̀ nínú. Ọ̀rọ̀ tí ò ní láìlẹ̀ Yorùbá, ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n lọ mọ̀. Àwọn ọ̀tẹ̀, òun ni wọ́n mọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n civilization, the battle of Oshogbo, the battle of Odrotin, the issue ti Zik, the intention of Zik for Yoruba land, the intention of the Igbo State Union for Yoruba land. Why is Southern Cameroon not part of Nigeria? Why did Southern Cameroon run away from Nigeria?